Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm doing another episode of TokuStation, and today I'm doing a review of Power Rangers Beast Morphers episodes 5 to 8. Now, I know it's been a while. I'm so happy to be back. Sadly, I've had some computer troubles. I'm pretty sure if you guys either follow us on Those Guys Play or Those Guys on the Radio, you probably have heard what's going down, but basically desktop troubles. Usually we do live episodes of TokuStation on Twitch, not doing reviews, just talking about different Toku news and stuff like that. So that has been a big issue, and then also that affected our Those Guys on the Radio stuff, and that meant that all the stuff that I want to do and edit and all that stuff now ends up going to the laptop, which is not as good as the desktop, so that definitely slowed a lot down, a lot in the pipeline. But thankfully, I'm able to record this, had the chance to watch Beast Morphers episodes 5 to 8, and I have to say, there's some highs, there's some lows. I think the first episode really hooked me in, and I think it really depends on the episode in this batch, 5 through 8. I feel as if looking at Nate's introduction as a ranger, and of course having another ranger in Steel, I feel as if, and it's also kind of funny thinking of the fact that we just had Ninja Steel, and having a ranger in Steel and Nate, that's not a problem to me at all. I just think that it happened a bit too early. It's funny, I have my notes up here. I should probably actually put them up, but with my notes, I had that listed towards the end of 8, but you know what? Let's just kind of jumble everything all together. Why not? Just like, Sentai footage and Power Rangers. So, although in this case, this show has actually done a very good job of just making not all footage is brand new, of course, but a lot of brand new footage. And, but talking about Nate again, I don't have a problem with him being a ranger. I'm happy actually that we have a ranger who's this mega nerd, because not every kid is going to be, like Devin, like Ravi, really like Tommy, if you're going back that far. So I'm happy that Nate's a ranger, but I think that this should have happened either towards the end of the season or during a different type of season finale type break, because in this case, while I think in some way they kind of made this episode knowing that obviously, they've been on Nick for so long, they knew that they were going to take a break until the fall, but it is frustrating to have only 8 episodes before this break, especially when this season isn't going to be 16 episodes. It is going to be a full 20. So I hope they don't do another 8 episode break once the fall rolls around, or at least a 4 episode break, a month long, and then they just cut to next year. That would definitely be frustrating, because I think it ruins the momentum of the show, because this is an episodic show. It's not based upon story arcs for the most part. In some cases, yes, there'll be 2 or 3 parters, but it's not meant to be looked at as an 8 episode giant arc, if you will. While you could see a few things here and there and be like, no, but Nate grew and so grew, and that is true. The characters have grown, and I've definitely enjoyed that while watching the show. But at the same time, I do feel as if this show isn't really meant for these breaks, or at least they're not writing them with the breaks in mind completely. Doctor Who had done that at some point. The Walking Dead has done that. Many shows have done that, and they really, they've had issues, I will admit, but they still try to complement these breaks. But I feel like this episode, looking at 8 in particular, it had a big feel, right? As if it could be a big teaser feel. Hey, come back in the fall so you can watch more Power Rangers Beast Morphers. But there was something, I think it was a Roxy line, where she was just, oh, we'll get them next time. And it just felt as if I was supposed to be like, yeah, next week. And then, of course, we learn that, which, of course, you guys have known this for a while, but we learn that we're not getting any of these until, I think, August. So not necessarily the fall, but pretty close to the fall. So August or September, although no official date has come out yet. So I talked about the episodes that I'm talking about, but of course, I want to talk about the episode titles. So episode 5 is Taking Care of Business, or as I like to call it, Happy Father's Day. Episode 6 is Hanger Heist, or as I like to call it, the Teamwork episode. That's not really a joke. There's no real punchline. It's just the teamwork episode. Episode 7, A Friend Indeed, which is also known as The Power Rangers Are Terrible. Terrible friends. Do not befriend the Power Rangers, children. And last but not least, episode 8, The Cyber Gate Opens, or as I like to call it, the one that pissed off the Blue Ranger that people didn't really like or even identify with when they were kids. That one. That little guy. Yeah, I mean, he's not little anymore, but that one. Yeah, apparently it pissed him off. But really, who cares? So, moving back to the episodes themselves, I feel like 5, look, I get it. They need to create some type of drama, and I understand that they want to create this, tension between Red and his dad. Totally get it. But it is a little odd, I think, that the general or Ravi's mom running the whole operation from the looks of it, neither one of them could forge some documents, just forge something and be able to tell the mayor, like, no, he has an internship here. He's a janitor or something. Yeah, it's not giving him cash, and yes, his dad had his sights set on Devin working with Sudsy, and the reason why is because he apparently worked with Sudsy when he was a kid or when he was younger. So I get it, that makes sense, and also it was some good, father-son bonding time, and then it does lead into the end of the episode where they have this weird father-son moment, which was not the angry one, but the one that's supposed to have it not end on a sour note, where he goes, "I'm proud of whoever the Red Ranger is. Man, I would like to be his dad." The Rangers have to be like, "See, he's proud of being your dad." It's like, well, I mean, not really. He doesn't know it yet, so but I will admit though, I'm happy that he didn't learn that his son was the Red Ranger so soon. That would just, I think, kind of take any air out of any gravitas out of this reveal, or just kind of the shenanigans that go along with being a Power Ranger. But even though he doesn't know, I still felt that it was just odd that it's like, well, no, he has to juggle both jobs. I get it, trauma, I know, and I'm watching Power Rangers, I hear you, but it just felt like something that when you're working with a government organization, it would just seem like it's such an easy fix. Like when it was Zordon with the teenagers with attitude, Zordon doesn't know what the economy is. Zordon, all he knows is I'm a wizard and I have to fight someone with my wizardly powers. Or I need to give teenagers my wizardly powers so they could fight other wizards. That's kind of, and witches, that's kind of the show. And also Satan's there. Lord Zed, Satan. So that's Power Rangers. That's Mighty Morphin. But as the show goes on and we have different types of Power Rangers, it's just a little odd that the government, in this case, this funded organization, I believe they're government funded. If not, there's still some secret shadow organization in a sense. I mean, they're doing good things, but you guys know what I mean. Why could they not create something for him, just some filler position to go, see, Dad, I'm working, yeah, and then of course goes off to be a Power Ranger. Oh, there's actually a few stuff that I forgot to mention. So the Dogatronic is a nightmare that will appear in my dreams. It will haunt them. It is definitely very on topic, I guess, very relevant to what we're talking about in the next week or so, because we do have Halloween in July coming up on this channel, Teacher Productions, and of course on our Those Guys on the Radio and Those Guys Play channel. We created our own holiday because we can actually do that. So I realized that after a few years, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can just create this. And I did, and we did. So very, very on topic, because that was a nightmare. And they played it off as like a cute little thing, and I'm like, this is an abomination. Like, I looked at that Dogatronic and all I could think of is the laws of equivalent exchange. I was like, this is not right. That hopefully, I don't look, that dog's name was Nina. Anyway, look, let's move on. Oh, Sudsy. So here's something interesting about Sudsy. So I thought Sudsy looked familiar. Boy, was I wrong. But Sudsy, his actor, has actually been in a lot of different Power Ranger shows in the past. So he was actually, his name is John Lay, and he has worked, he was in, let's see, stuff that sadly I wouldn't have known him from, which is, sad, but like I actually haven't seen Power Rangers other than RPM and a few bits of like Samurai and Ninja Steel. I haven't watched Power Rangers since Dino Thunder, so it's been a while for me, but he has been in Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Super Mega Force, Ninja Force, and Dino Thunder, so I should know him from one of those, and Samurai as well. Also Ninja Steel. Most of them voices, usually, he was Brownbeard in Operation Overdrive, so you might know him as Brownbeard, if that means something to you. And but most of the time he was doing voiceover stuff. He was Dr. Bellrab in Ninja Storm. Again, something I might be able to remember if, given enough VHS tapes or time with Ninja Storm on Netflix, perhaps I would remember that. He's also been in, I thought he was only in Power Rangers. No, he's been in a lot of other stuff as well. Interesting. Anything I would know? He was in Xena Warrior Princess. I've barely seen that, but I know I should see a lot more of that. Oh, that's interesting, huh? But even though I'm not familiar with his work, I'm really happy that they're bringing back actors who are familiar with Power Rangers into supporting roles, not into ones that are a bit more kind of closer to the main cast. Nothing wrong with that. I just feel as if I want to see new actors get those positions, especially ones as Rangers themselves. Well, it was always fun to see Tommy come back, not everywhere, but specifically I'm referring to when he left officially, quote unquote, and then came back in Dino Thunder. That was fun. But I do think that not just as characters, but even as actors, it's really cool seeing this young cast and kind of seeing them grow as the series goes on. I mean, seeing the actor for Ravi, he's really getting better and better at this as the show is going on, and that's really cool to see. Also, something, speaking of Sudsy as well, just the character, it's so, like, yes, he seems like he's, he's a hard butt. I want to censor myself, but he's definitely not he's not playing around. But there definitely is, like, it's not like he's being a jerk about it. And maybe as a kid, if I was a kid, I'd be like, wow, he's mean, Devin's a Power Ranger. But like now as an adult, I'm like, hey man, you went retail. But not really. I mean, it's not retail, but like still, it's, hey man, you're in a customer service job. All right, as long as no one's cursing you out and being rude to you. I mean, all he's saying is you got to be at work. You can't just be taking off like this. So I mean, yes, you could say he's being stern about it, but again, he's just being a normal adult. So I don't know. It just felt like there's a little bit of leeway there at first, but like the fact that Devin has to stop. By the way, a lot of Power Rangers encounters in this one episode alone. I feel like they knew that he was working at the car shop, the car wash shop, even before they found him there. Another thing too, by the way, I should note as well. The fact that I mentioned earlier, like, oh, they should have tried to get him some job or fake job within the organization. But the fact that they let him get this job and they're just like, yeah, sure, we recruited teenagers for some reason. We had to do that. But now him getting the job isn't a problem to our security whatsoever. It's like, but yes, it is. So again, I said it over and over. I get it, but it would have been. I just think it would have been best for the the organization, the GB, to just kind of sit back and be like, you know what? Let's not let him out of our sights. Let's not let any of these kids out of our sights. Wow, okay, so I'm looking at my notes. I was talking about father-son bonding time before. Didn't even mention we have Betsy and Ben and their dad, who's the general. I mentioned the general, but I didn't, mention the fact that his kids that we've seen for a while now, that they are his kids. And it's kind of interesting to see how their dynamic is, especially the fact that he's laughing at his kids, because again, that's something that I think is so real with families, like you might, trip on something, you might walk into a glass door when you're 8, and your family just never lets it go. Despite how many times you guys just, hang out and have family gatherings of any type, they just don't let you forget that. Like, it happened 18 years ago in Puerto Rico. I get it. It was funny. It was funny. But we need to let it go. Anyway, moving on. I do like that, looking at Devin and his dad, the fact that I mentioned they're, like hanging out and stuff, and him helping his son with the car wash stuff. But I thought initially watching the show, I was like, oh, his dad's, a politician, working late hours, all that stuff. He's definitely not going to be able to hang out with his son. And to be fair, yes, he is very busy from the looks of these episodes so far, 5 episodes in. But it is nice to see that they wanted to show, like, no, like they're having a good time together. It's not like he's, absentee or anything like that. That Devin feels like he doesn't have a parent or something like that. Like, no. Like, they're doing just fine. Like, yes, his dad's very busy, but you know what? That also helps him be a Power Ranger, so good for the Earth, I think. But just kind of just weigh the scales for a second. But I'm happy that they showed them interacting, and it wasn't just another a situation with a Power Ranger who doesn't have a family. Even though they don't mention the show, there's a lot of Power Rangers that you kind of look around and you're like, where are the parents, grandparents, anything? Do you even have relatives? We don't know. At least in Kamen Rider, you canonically know that everyone's an orphan. Like, at least they give it to you up front there. But anyway, before we move on to the next episode, I want to say that I loved how much work and how much thought was put into this giant mecha scene, this giant mecha fight in this episode, because normally you could have just thought of it as like a throwaway thing. Like, who cares? Just have them, slice a sword, shoot a gun, whatever, just keep it moving, right? Who cares? It's free footage, right? Why does it matter? But I like that they actually have some thought put into these, and usually do, because they're thinking, no, what kind of battle strategy should they have, or something along those lines. So it was really cool to see Devin sit back and think, you know what? No, I have to do it this way and actually let him hit me so that I could hit him back and destroy him without causing a huge explosion because the entire town would be destroyed. Now, I don't remember if that was taken one for one from Go Busters, but even if it was, you still didn't have to take it. I mean, you have so much footage at your disposal, especially of mech stuff, that you could have just thrown it away. But no, the fact that they took it and they adapted it, again, not sure if the story was the same exactly, but still, it's really cool that they had that thought there. It doesn't just seem like it's just them, slowly punching. Nothing against other mech fights in Super Sentai or Power Rangers, but sometimes, even with military ones, it just feels like it's just slow punch, and then, oh no, it was destroyed. I mean, even looking at something like Jetman, which, to be fair, I did enjoy the human aspect of Jetman a lot, but looking at Jetman, man, some of those mech fights, real quick. And I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of mech fights all the time, but man, those were just there because I feel like Inoue was just like, all right, we gotta sell these toys, whatever, fine. And then they got in the mech, and then it sliced, and then it died, hooray! Like, that's just kind of what some of those felt like. 19-minute runtime, to be fair, but still, yeah, it was nice to have some thought into this, and also show the Rangers kind of acting separately instead of trying to get together to fight these giant monsters. It was kind of like, no, look, we have one on the ground, you have to go off by yourself, but it's okay, we're all capable of doing this, we've had training, etc., etc. So it was nice to have them kind of trust and lean into each other, trust each other. However, that does become a bit of a problem in the next episode that we are talking about. So episode 6, Hangar Heist. Now, yeah, this was one that is a little odd to me because you would think that something like this would happen sooner, but for some reason it seems like everyone fell into their roles very easily, very early, and now all of a sudden people are having some trouble adjusting or being, oh, this is what a leader means, this is what being a leader doesn't mean, and all of that stuff. You would think that that was stuff that would be ironed out or potentially be a problem earlier on. Now, I know you have to have the teamwork episode, you always have to have it, but it feels as if, and maybe it's because I'm doing this a little late, but it feels as if when looking at how many weeks it took to get to this episode, it's episode 6 out of 8 and we've already had a break. We know the series is going to be season rather is going to be 20 episodes, not like a standard Sentai 40 to 50. So because we're on episode 6 here, it feels as if it took a while, especially let's presume that they're getting hit with these attacks on a weekly basis, like we're watching it for the most part, minus some random breaks. Yet it is odd, I think, to just kind of pop in here instead of earlier. Either way, though, we had to have it, and we did. So, of course, we have Red realizing that being a team doesn't just, or being a leader doesn't just mean that your gut or what you say goes, because obviously there's a lot of other things, a lot of other factors that come into play. Oh, and quick side notes, I would like to quote someone in the episode. I have a date with some data. All right, just please, Nate, this is a family program, so can we just kind of tone it down? Because, like, prowess-wise, like, sensual prowess, you're kind of at, like, a 15 right now. We're going to need to bring this down to a cool 9. So if you could just kind of bring that down, thank you. Anyway, something else that happened I wanted to mention. So Evox actually hit Blaze. And look, I don't really know what it's like to work in a corporate environment like that, but I do believe that stuff like that is unacceptable in the workplace. Hopefully, he can talk to someone from HR about that, maybe some kind of rep or something. Oh wait, no, I'm hearing this right now. The rep has been eaten by Eva. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe then they have to fend for themselves. I still feel as if, I know that corporate environment's very cutthroat, but I think that there should be some type of something in place to kind of help Blaze and even Roxy as well, who is randomly disappearing. Are you guys noticing, by the way, watching these episodes, at least these four in particular, it feels like certain characters, certain not Ben and Betty because of course Ben and Betty because they're comic relief, but when it comes to like Roxy and when it comes to Zoe, I totally knew her name, didn't edit that in there. When it came to Zoe and Roxy, it feels like they kind of disappeared at certain parts of the show. And look, I get that it's an ensemble cast, so even the not the Buddy Roids, the Beast Bots, they ended up disappearing a lot throughout these episodes, other than the one that was centric to them, which is Seven, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I understand, ensemble cast. I mean, of course, her mom, right? Zoe's mom literally has disappeared. Like, no one in the media wants to report on this anymore. Is it not the hot topic anymore? So, like, I totally get that some characters are going to, quote unquote, go missing, especially with a large cast. But it feels like with a show like this, where she's one of your three main Rangers, it's a little weird that I feel like in these four episodes we haven't really seen a lot from her. Even in Hangar Heist, one that's supposed to be about a team dynamic not working, it seems as if it's really more so on Red with Blue, more so than it is with Zoe. And you would think that Zoe would be the one to try to bring them together, but it was the mom, who I get it, it's Ravi's mom, who is the leader in all of this. She's running this operation. Of course, she's going to want to give some kind of wisdom to Red. But yeah, it just feels as if Zoe has kind of been absent in many of these episodes. And then the one that she's a part of, which is, again, is episode 7, all three Rangers have to be jerks. It's very odd, I think. I feel like I hope that we get in the second half a Zoe-centric episode, because I feel as if we had a lot of potential with her, for her. I mean, she's one of the first characters that we meet in this show. So it's a little odd that we've kind of transitioned away from her having some screen time. And again, same thing with Roxy as well. I mean, there's even something else I want to mention with the villains, but again, I'll bring that up much later. Villains in this case referring to Blaze and Roxy, but again, we'll bring that up much later. I want to talk about the simulation. Okay, so here's the funny thing. This is what I love about simulation. You're looking at that footage, and at least I'm looking at the footage. I'm going, man, they had so much mech footage. They're like, can we just write a scene and just call it simulation, and then have their tension and their drama heat up there, because we have all of this footage. I mean, you buy 50 episodes worth of footage. I don't think they get stuff that's on the cutting room floor, although that would be interesting if they did. But they get 50 episodes worth of footage. Although in Go Buster's case, I think it was like 48, or was it 53? I'll check later. But they get that much footage, and they have to sit here and make 20 episodes, and then we don't even know what they're doing with second season's worth of footage, if they're just going to randomly get new powers. Oh no, now they're not the Beast Morphers. Oh, it's Primal Beast Morphers, or something like that. Beast Morphers Primal. If they use that, I think I deserve maybe a royalty, just one, some merch. Send a toy. I don't know. Go Busters had 50 episodes on the dot, and it aired in 2012. Please stop the ravages of time. I'm aging, and I don't like this. So quickly, I want to touch on Betty and Ben, and the reason why is because I've mentioned them before. If you guys listened to the first time I talked about Power Rangers Beast Morphers episodes 1 to 4, I talked about how they aren't just traditional comic relief characters. Yes, I know they're written in the beginning of the episode, at the end as well, maybe a little bit in the middle. I get that it's a formula that we know some of us love, some of us don't like, but what I enjoy about them, even more than Bulk and Skull, at least early Bulk and Skull, is the fact that these two do their part on the team. Yes, they're not Power Rangers, although I swear to God, if they become like a fused kind of Kamen Rider double like Green Ranger, yes, take all my money. I don't have a lot of it, so joke's on you. I have nothing. But anyway, I just feel as if the fact that they actually uncovered the plan, that they found out what Roxy was doing, and then Roxy actually retaliated. I just enjoyed the fact that we have them not just be there for laughs. Yes, they do get laughs. Yes, it happens a lot. I totally get that. But I just feel as if it is really nice to see a situation where multiple times throughout this show so far, they actually bring a lot to the team, because the Rangers would have been completely wrecked if they didn't call headquarters. Also, in a later episode, episode 8, the fact that their tracker was on the back of the truck, I was like, yes, thank God for your shenanigans. Like, their shenanigans have actually helped save the day. So, in some respects. So, yes, they're not the muscle, but arguably they're a brain. They share a collective one. I don't know. I just think that it's really cool to have them not just be the funny characters. Haha, who cares? Who really cares about them? No, they. I mean, look, they do have okay, so I have the episodes playing in the background as we're talking about this. So they had this Team Rocket moment in a way where they just got like the rocket just shot off, and I was like, okay, look, I know that happens, but again, they called the Rangers over to do their thing. So I think that was pretty cool. Also, I should note, I don't remember the monster design for this monster of the week in Hangar Heist. It looks really cool. Huh. Like, it looks really cool. Like, it looks like with a little bit of tweaking, it could actually be a hero in like a Metal Hero show or something like that. Really cool. Anyway, Monsters of the Week, I haven't really been talking about them much, or haven't really been commenting on them much, because, they're not new monsters. So, like, they look great and everything, but I mean, they're stuff that's, in Go Busters. So, what I do find interesting is how much new footage, like I mentioned earlier, how much new footage has been filmed for this show. I'm shocked. Like, I'm wondering if next season, hopefully they get good returns on this, but if they don't get as good as returns as they might have wanted, I'm wondering if they're going to maybe kind of roll back on some of this new footage that they've been filming, because they filmed a lot of footage so far. Like, it's I'm hard pressed to find fight footage, so like with Rangers Morphed, that is exclusively for an episode taken directly from Go Busters. Yes, of course, they got all the suits from Toei, assuming that the factory that they had them in was in good condition. But yes, they have the suits, sure, so they could refilm with that just fine. They're not really spending money on the suits, but like it's a lot of work to have to film that footage, especially when there isn't really a return. There is a return obviously on the ads for it playing on Nick, and they are getting money from Nick to even put it on the network, but at the same time there isn't as much of a return, I would argue, on things like DVD sales, unless they're going to start releasing them instead of just those terrible 4-episode volumes for kids. They're going to actually start trying to release them like every like 12 or 8 episodes on one set of discs, kind of on one release rather, kind of like anime does. If they do that, then that would be interesting. But I feel as if Netflix could obviously pick this up in the near future, and of course pay them money through that the way. But like, usually I would argue, compared to other things like anime, like where there's dubs and subs and streaming services exclusively for it and things like that, I don't know what the return is on the show necessarily. Of course, you hope that the toys are selling well, but I don't really know how that's going necessarily. Don't have those numbers in front of me. Now, I would like to take another quote, potentially in or out of context. The quote is, "Time to tie things up. Roxy, this is a family show." Okay, I already got on Nate's behind for this. Okay, Roxy, no, it's a family show. Children are watching. 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Beast Morphers, Nickelodeon. You can't just do this. All right, Rox, you gotta settle down. Okay, you and Nate both gotta settle down. Oh God, do I ship that now? Ah, Jesus Christ. Well, that just happened. All right, so wow, huh? I mean, I was hoping for Zoe and Nate, but now here we are, I guess. Do you ship that? I mean, again, this is just a 4 a.m. revelation that just kind of hit me out of nowhere. Either way, let's before we move on to episode 7, where this podcast is going off the rails, I want to talk about, this is not a sponsorship ad, although it could be for Jay, or now it's Steel. Why is Jay's head on a cart? I mean, now we know what came of that, but just for a second there, I was like, oh my God, is he okay? And why is he not making witty quips? Also, I'm very happy they kept the quips in his character, like they did with Jay. But so anyway, one thing I wanted to mention too before we move on to episode 7. So there was a cart where Jay's head, or Steel's head, was on. And as someone who works in a debate league, so I go to a lot of different schools, we have a lot of different tournaments at these schools, I looked at that cart and I was like, they got that from the local high school or the local elementary school. Like, I'm wondering where props found that, because I mean, maybe that's just a general thing that they have at the warehouse or wherever they're filming, but it looks like something that directly came from a school. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, I use that exact model of a cart So I guess New Zealand has the same models as we do in the U.S. But that was just a random side note. Oh, and also should be noted, the team got back together. No one saw it coming. I honestly thought we were going to get like a Spock Kirk battle to the death. But you know what? Apparently they settled their differences. Good for them. Go, go, Power Rangers. Also, of course, we should note they got a new combination. They got the official 3 Zords. That's cool. Took them a very long time to do this, but I'm a huge fan of that. You know, I hate when a show, and even a show, I get that they're, they got to sell the toys, the toyetic, I get it, but it's really for me when a show in the first episode is getting like a five piece, what is this, KFC, like a 5-piece combination. Yeah, wow, it really is KFC. But like seriously though, they get like a 5 to 10 piece Zord, and it's like, this is episode 1, please slow down, Go Sager. Oh, what, did I just say that? But no, but seriously, slow down, guys. I get it, you gotta sell that merch, but like, my god. So I'm happy that this one took so long to have this combination. It just, again, like it feels like it was built up well. So moving on to episode 7, A Friend Indeed. When looking at all 3 B-Spots, I kind of feel weird that they're all kind of goofs, if you will. I'm not going to say that all 3 of them in Go Busters were serious, but it did feel like each one of them, while they had a flaw, if you will, only, like, okay, so Usada / Jax wasn't quirky. The other, like, he felt more serious. Like, yes, it was funny that he had a deep voice and he was, a bunny rabbit, but it felt like he was more serious when compared to the gorilla, which I don't remember his name in Japanese. I just remember that he was very, just like this version, very maternal, very like, Ryuji, I love you. And then Ryuji's just like, bro. And Ravi is very similar. And Nick / actually, I don't remember what his name was in Japanese, or heck, if Nick is his... No, Nick isn't his US name. But either way, I just feel like we need one designated goofball and not have it be all 3 of them. This episode was just kind of weird, because I understand what it's trying to do, what it's trying to teach kids, and frankly, some adults that definitely need to know this, not to take advantage of your friends, not to take them for granted, rather, or, it can be both, but not take them for granted, because you never know what's going to happen. But I think because of how early on in the episode they kind of took away every time I want to say buddy roids, the beast bots kind of, I guess, humanity, their free will, and they kind of just rebooted as just these these robots just there to serve them, these kind of robot butlers. The fact that the Rangers were immediately cool with that, it was just weird. Again, I know they're supposed to learn and grow and change, duh, but it was just done in a way where I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of like, I feel like even kids at that point would be like, no, but I liked it when they were being all goofy, even if they were getting things messed up. Like, I feel like even kids, maybe not all kids to be fair, but I feel like even kids would be like, oh, I don't know if this is cool. Why are the Rangers doing something that even I know I shouldn't be doing? So yeah, I believe me, I'm fine with Power Rangers and other shows teaching life lessons, both to kids and adults. I get it. I know what I'm watching. Someone out there is probably like, Matt, do you know what you're watching? I do know, but I feel as if lessons can be taught without having to dumb it down that much to that level where it's like, guys, like, you lost them. Like, that's, I mean, I know that they're just robots, quote unquote, but there's something about them that makes them human. Also, I think it's because they're based off of animals. Even though Nick is supposed to be based off of a cheetah, I don't really see it. But we have oh, I keep on forgetting his name, but we have the gorilla and we have Jax, and it's just like, you disappoint Jax. It's like, no, he's, oh god, tough bunny with a New York accent. Like, he's my guy, hug me some Jax. Just like, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Don't worry about Zoe. Everything's going to be fine. And of course we learned that they're going to, they're throwing a surprise party. That's something that I got the second that Zoe pulled out the hat, but I thought it was going to be for Zoe. But of course, if Zoe should know her own birthday. So the fact that she didn't kind of mention that at all, yeah, it was a random surprise party, basically saying like, we're best friends, I thought. And it just feels weird because, again, the Power Rangers have to be like, we're sorry, but they just seem like jerks throughout the episode. So it was kind of one of those situations where, by simplifying it to that point, you make them seem like complete jerks. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, the Buddy Roids, oh, damn it, the B-Spots should be the Rangers. They should be the Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers should be the ones helping the B-Spots. Just like an episode, just like a random Metal Hero series. Oh, God, I just thought of Robotech. Oh, I never want to think of why. Oh, Kabuto. Nope, nope, no. All right, we're moving on. All right, so before we move on to episode 8, I want to mention good burp from Betty. 7.5 out of 10. Would have given her more, but they cut it off. Don't know how it ended. Really need to see how she stuck the landing. So, either also, by the way, they were in the cake for God knows how many hours. Dear God, what troopers they are. Anyway, so moving on to episode 8, the Cybergate opens. One of my favorite episodes so far. It was really cool to see not only these two new Rangers in Nate and in Steel, but also their dynamic. I don't think Nate understands what having a brother is. Like, he just made a robot clone and he's like, my brother. And I'm like, very, very Evangelion for me. Like, I think it's just a bit too, like, come on, Nate, don't turn yourself into the robot. Please, Nate, don't turn into the robot. But no, it definitely, it's still a nice little message. I'm happy that he feels like he has a brother. Steel is freaking hilarious. I don't know who voices Steel. I should have known that before we started talking about this. I'll look that up in just a second. But Steel was amazing. I love that it really does feel like it's an American, because the thing is, there was nothing wrong with Jay in Go Busters. So I was worried they weren't going to have in Jay. It would have been interesting if Jay was a woman, if they had another Ranger on the team who's a woman, but that's kind of why I'm hoping for Ben and Betty combo, or at least Betty getting. I know the Green Ranger thing was a joke, but they have the suit. It was in that V Cinema, right? It was a V Cinema, I think, right? It wasn't a hyper video. I'm pretty sure it was a V Cinema thing. Anyway, so they had that, so I mean, it would be cool, maybe. But when looking at quote unquote Steel, it was just, he was a lot of fun, and it's so nice to have that charisma on the team, because while I'm not saying the team doesn't necessarily have charisma, I think that Red has a lot of charisma. Again, it's an ensemble cast, so it's really hard to juggle all of them and to have one be the quote unquote wacky one. You don't really want to do that with the three of them. They're supposed to be random, like random teenagers, any teenager you could find off the street. So it's cool to see Steel just kind of be really out there. Okay, so Steel's voice actor is Jamie Linehan, and my God, looking at his resume for Power Rangers exclusively, in Dino Thunder, he did the dubbed voice, so he dubbed over Red from Abba Ranger, Abba Red. So he dubbed his voice over when they were watching quote unquote Japanese Power Rangers on TV. My God. Okay, so that was his voice. That's one. He was Tangleweb in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Again, have not seen it, so you can tell me what you guys think about his performance down below. And also in Super Ninja Steel, he was Game Goblin, Wolverine, god damn it, and Brax. Okay. And of course, again, Steel. So yeah, I love his voiceover work. He's just so much fun. So happy that we're going to get Steel for the rest of the show. Cannot wait to just kind of hear him be this character throughout. Okay, so I wanted to mention something. So I was kind of spoiled about what was going to happen a little bit, or I think it was half spoiled, half I kind of saw what was coming. So of course we know that Nate's going to get captured. Why wouldn't he get captured by the person that I now ship him with, Roxy? Right, I do that now. So yeah, I knew he was going to get captured, but I thought it was going to be something that was his fault. But he literally gets captured within a minute of them leaving him. Like, they were literally like, we're going to leave you in the woods, which is a quote, by the way. I love so much that it's a quote. Damn it, we left him in the woods. It's like, all right, between this and Deadites, I'm kind of happy that this is the thing that caught him. But, so they leave him in the woods, and he immediately gets captured. So it's not his fault. I blame the Rangers. I'm sorry. I think maybe this government organization, as much as I love, the concept as someone who grew up watching Mighty Morphin, I get it, teenagers with attitude, but maybe, I don't know, you get some adults, maybe some late 20-somethings, like me, I don't know. So still continuing on with Nate, I love how his plan did not backfire. I love how he outwitted them, because it shows you that it's not just about physical force to be a ranger. Yes, of course, when you're morphed, it's about physical force, but just in general, it's not just about brawn. It's also about brains as well. and it shows you that anyone can be a ranger. So I enjoyed that very much so, especially how it ended up screwing them over in the end, because again, they underestimated him. Very much like Blue from Turbo underestimated him. Again, referring to the actor here. So odd. Just so odd that he even commented on this. But again, if I can, make a joke every now and again, at least during this review, I definitely will. Anyway, so, but no, like I've mentioned before with Ben and Betty, right? Again, these characters aren't useless. And that's what I enjoy. Yes, of course, Nate's the one that gets to become a ranger, but he is not useless. And that's really cool. And that's a great message to send to kids. Like, hey, not only can anyone become a ranger, but not everyone is there, just laugh at them, move on, or something like that. Oh, speaking of Betty, specifically her actress, Christina Ho, I believe. My voice did not crack there. I need to get some water. So Christina Ho, when they drop the goop on her, right? Like when she's in the Froyo machine, I believe. But either way, when she's in that machine and they drop the goop on her, I feel like whoever was pushing the button didn't tell her, like obviously told her, hey, we're gonna like click the button. But I don't know how much they told her like was gonna actually be used, because the last time before they cut to whatever they cut to next, just her face, the look on her face was like, you did not tell me. You did not. This is nice. It's like, it's kind of like being slimed on, and you're on Nickelodeon, so really this is just another version of Double Dare. But it was just kind of funny. Like she's just sitting there like, you did not tell me that you were going to be using the second time. Why? Like there's something on her face that it was genuine shock. It was kind of funny to see. But yeah, talking about, because I already talked about the fact that I think Nate and Steel might have been introduced a bit too early, might kind of be weird with the balance. I mean, we're not getting any other Rangers for this season, so I'm wondering if maybe they are going to burn through all the Go Busters footage within this season. I don't know if it was confirmed whether or not. Please tell me, guys down below, if you've seen some confirmation of it, but I don't believe it was confirmed that they would burn through all of the Go Busters footage within this 120 episode season. I hope they don't. I really dislike that Power Rangers is doing that. I mean, maybe they'll just create new suits and call it, again, Beast Morphers Primal or something like that. But still, I do feel as if I hope that they do something like they did with Ninja Steel and not something like they did with Megaforce and Super Megaforce. That was just weird. Just going from, they couldn't call them angels, but going from angels to space pirates is just, it's just so odd. So I hope that they don't do that here, or if they do a really good explanation and a change of motifs with whatever show they go to next. And before we wrap this one up, I want to mention a few things. So the premise of the episode itself, episode 8, the fact that we're going to take Evox and give him not a human body, but a physical body of some type, makes sense. I thought they were going to put him into Nate, like World's Strongest style. I was actually a little concerned. I was like, whoa, what's going on? But no, Nate has to build the robot. But what's odd is how Roxy and Blaze didn't remember Nate. Like Scrozzle, of all people. Yes, his name is Scrozzle. I always want to remind myself that, because it's just such a disgusting name. Good name they came up with. So Scrozzle is just is just so good at remembering these different characters. He knows Nate, while Blaze and Roxy are like, right, yes, we remember that guy. And it's weird because while I understand that they are evil, right? This is their evil forms, avatars, whatever you want to refer to it as. But they both still have a decent chunk of themselves there. I mean, of course, we have, Roxy play flirting, also at the same time messing with Ravi. Like, oh, Ravi, it's so nice that you're here. It's like, you're a terrible person. I mean, she literally is. She's an evil avatar, but you're a terrible person. But when looking at just Nate in general, it was just odd that they randomly were like, oh, right, yes, that really, really, really smart guy. It's like, yes, you knew him. He was always a prodigy. Scrozzle just like randomly discovers him in a newspaper, and it's like, yeah, didn't you know this dude? It's kind of weird that they had to be reminded. Also, something else as well, still about Blaze and Roxy, it feels as if they've kind of lost their bite, or this kind of edge that they had. And I don't mean that as characters necessarily. I mean that more so with the fact that, look, I get that they're going to have to consistently lose. They're up against the Power Rangers. They're not going to violently murder the Power Rangers. This is Nickelodeon, Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. But I do feel as if there's something about how Scrozzle is treating them, and there's no real retaliation, and Evox isn't even being like silenced because they want Evox to be this kind of ruthless character who really doesn't care if they both fight each other. I mean, Evox will throw like a digital knife in between them and be like, whoever holds it last wins. He doesn't care. But it is strange that I feel like we've taken so much bite and so much edge, and I don't want to say edge like as an edginess, because I don't want to go, like, I'm not trying to get say that they should be, Linkin Park crawling in my skin going on, none of that going on here, but or Shadow the Hedgehog, none of that. But there definitely was something that they initially had, maybe some kind of shine, if you will, that I feel has just consistently been brought down. And I think the reason why it's been decreased is because with this new footage, they are consistently standing next to these monsters of the weeks. They are consistently getting into fights with Power Rangers where they're somewhat losing, at least retreating. I feel as if hopefully in these next few episodes, they're just scheming. Now, look, I love that, these actors are getting paid to be in this role, and they're not just kind of being written off in certain episodes. Although I mentioned earlier, it seems like Roxy is not really around as much, as Blaze is. But still, you kind of, I don't know, I feel like there's just a certain sheen that they've lost. And hopefully it does get addressed. Maybe that's what kind of leads to them even betraying Evox before. Like, they don't even turn good. They just get so fed up with everything. They end up actually working with the Rangers, and then they help bring them back into their human forms. I was assuming they just somehow end up capturing them, which also is something odd too, that the Rangers don't seem interested in capturing them, despite, I mean, look, I get it. Suspension of disbelief. Totally get that. You can't do that just yet. But it does seem like they do have them on the ropes a lot and could potentially try and swarm them. Maybe now with 5, it's a bit easier to try and do that. Try and swarm them to bring them back to the home base in some way or another. Either way, we'll probably see how that has to go, what ends up happening with that throughout the next few episodes. I mean, I'm assuming by the time, I was wondering if the two of them, Blaze and Roxy, would be turned good and become the 4th and 5th Ranger. Of course, we know that's not the case now, but I was wondering about that at some point. So it will be interesting to see kind of what happens with the two of them and their relationship with Scrozzle and Evox as the show goes on, as we finally get back from break. I'm kind of like, now after seeing this, thankfully I waited a bit because this is my first time watching it right before I did the podcast. So now I'm kind of like, guys, could we just like speed that up? It would be real nice if you could just kind of even just throw one on or something like that. Just a small summer special. Like, it's an episode, but you call it a summer special. It would be nice. I don't know why they don't air them during the summer. You would think that kids would be home. I mean, but I don't know. I was a homebody, so I would, as a kid, if I was a kid watching this right now, I would have preferred to have new episodes airing on a weekly basis, or, every 2 weeks or something like that during the summer. Oh, well. But either way, though, let's see. Anything else here? So yeah, I was talking about the break much, much earlier and how this is kind of hurting the momentum of the show. Yeah, I hope that eventually, once this Nick contract runs out, they don't renew it. And this is nothing against Nick. Loved Nick growing up. I still think it has some fun shows. I'll, flip channels every now and again. Nick at Night's pretty fun too. But it's just, I feel like we're at a point where not that you don't need TV, because you do. You need either TV or some streaming service, maybe exclusive. You need to make some money somehow on this show, not just through the toy sales. You gotta sell this somewhere, right? But I feel like an exclusive Nick contract is definitely hurting them. And if Disney, let's say Disney XD is looking for it, if they put in a bid, if Cartoon Network puts in a bid, as long as the show, look, it doesn't have to be a traditional 40 to 50 episode Sentai. That's fine. But I feel like this stop again, on again, off again kind of thing that they have going. Other American shows do that, to be fair, across the whole year, 22 episodes. That does happen. They do go on random breaks, but to know that this show is going to be 20 episodes long, and after not even 8 weeks, because there were random breaks in between anyway for a week or two, not even for holidays, I think, just in general. Now having this huge break, I just think that it would definitely be better for this if we could air it, or if it could be aired on a weekly basis. And then, if it's 20 episode season, at 10 maybe you then have some huge finale and you're like, tune in, 3 months from now. I get that, but I'm kind of wondering, like, are we gonna have a straight 12 episode run? Because I highly doubt that. If we do in the fall, if September, October, November, we get a straight 12 episodes. Okay, that's fair, I guess. But no, yeah, it just feels like I would prefer something a bit more consistent. And I want to hear, as we're officially wrapping this up, what you guys have to say about that down below. And of course, these episodes as well. Did you like them? Did you not like them? I think I would say out of 5, 6, 7, and 8, 8 would be my favorite. But again, I want to hear what you guys have to say about that down below, and about this hiatus and this deal with Nick. You think they should renew it? You think they shouldn't renew it? Want to hear what you guys have to say about all of that down in the comment section down below. But if you're actually listening to this through our Patreon, you subscribe there and you got the audio feed, then you can still email us about it. Go to our Twitter at Those Guys Radio, contact us in any way you'd like, and just talk about this episode potentially in the posts underneath it down below. Would love to hear what you guys have to say irregardless. So love you all, take care, and tune in next time for another episode of TokuStation. Unsure if it'll be a review or news. If you want to find out, about all our different social media stuff in the description box, or you've probably heard me say it on some other episode before. Love you all. Take care. Tune in next time. See ya.